Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Crossblitz. Today I'll be running it back on the second map, the Starscape Plains, against the first boss Vault. So last time I lost to the Dungeon Keeper Elite. It's a pretty tough enemy. Since I was going for S rank, I was kind of forced into it if I wanted to take certain event notes. However, I did find a pretty cool synergy between Res, the spell deck, and Abraxas, the discard deck. I think it's usually pretty hard to combine the discard deck with anything else. But yeah, it kind of worked in this case until it didn't. I just kind of lost the war of attrition. Usually Res is pretty good at that, but the Dungeon Keeper is kind of just better. Although I did also kind of misplay the fight a little bit and maybe took some cards I didn't need to take towards the end. But yeah, I'll just try again. So this was the first loss of the series. Let's see if I can keep it at that. Alright, so for the event map, definitely several nodes I like to see. So there is the torture room, where I can get a couple of death related relics. Then there is the special battle, which is very good for res. It can give you a trinket that generates power chords, which is like your main source of damage and sustain. At least for the kind of deck I'm playing with res. Hogwash Forge also has some cool trinkets, so really liking this left path here. This would mean that I'm not fighting multi-howitz. So if I'm gonna go for the elite, that means I'll be fighting Zealot Soul. That should be fine. Zealot Soul is a spell deck. Well, I guess like a mix between groupies and spell. I should be able to pick up some relic or some spells that can deal with the groupies, just a little bit of card spam, and then I don't really care about spells he's playing. Like he only has removal spells pretty much, nothing that can burn me directly. Mosh Pit can hurt a little bit, but yeah. So I'm fine with avoiding the elite on the right path to take those really good event notes, and then take it in the second half. Mid-boss battle, that's gonna be the Dungeon Keeper. He returns yet again. I think as a mid-boss he should be a bit easier than as a late second half elite, just because he has less HP. 20 HP should be manageable. That's like 3 power chords if I scale them up. And so yeah, in terms of campfires, there is one campfire on the left path. Bounty nodes, a little unfortunate. This is where you unlock things, so if you've unlocked everything, it's pretty much just a useless node. Then for the elite, there is a bit of choice. Like I could go 3 campfires for some extra cloning, a drink fire beforehand, so I can really buff something up. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So, alright, let's jump into the first fight. Scalp and Ricky or the Glimmerbot. I think a couple basically vanilla 1-drops, 2-drops, and 3-drops, or a guy who mostly has 1-drops but can sometimes buff them to be 2-2. Let's just fight Scalp and Ricky. Doesn't really matter that much because most of the time I'll just be playing 2 power chords to the face anyway. But yeah. ideally I wanna scale them up with Concert Craze a little bit, and then sort of play one to deal 4 damage, one to deal 6 damage, and get the overkill out of the way. Since you do need to deal 5 overkill damage at some point if you want to get S rank. First I need to deal with those Scalp and Rickies though. Otherwise they'll start buffing so looks like I'm just gonna kill before it deals too much damage and I lose my S rank to getting hit for more than 10. And so interesting. I got some Hellfire, which is a board clear. That's pretty good, especially considering the elite I'm gonna face later on. Could also enable me to take Abraxas again, the discard deck. Demon Pact can be pretty nifty as well. Helps against the mid-boss battle. He plays the Scarlet Warlocks, which are 1/5s with a Death Rattle that destroys random minions. So he can basically remove 2 of his minions for the price of 1. Riot Rocker is pretty enticing since I have that special battle coming up, and he's a very good target for that trinket. The way the trinket works, if whenever you play a spell, you get the power chord. And Riot Rocker generates a Serpent Song, so he can immediately generate a spell that can trigger the Rift effect. So I don't need to rely on drawing a spell alongside whatever minion I put that trinket on, or trying to find a relic that generates spells. Malefic Melody generates some Serpent Songs. Kind of whatever right now. Not really doing much with Serpent Songs. It does tick up my ultimate. And if I'm worried about my power chords not doing enough damage to kill, then I might have to rely on that ultimate, but I should be able to do it with the with the Draconic Chords, especially if I pick up that Red Rocker. Void Agent is pretty good if I manage to get Dragonbrand as my secondary companion. Deals Draconic damage as a Death Rattle. And then you can get a relic to duplicate death rattles. So that's one way to deal some big damage to the enemy as well. And then there are also notes. That's like a sub-archetype of the spell deck. The way notes work is whenever you play one, it's the next one will copy all previous nodes. So like Dissonance Nodes is the cheapest one. It just prevents the enemy from playing a random card that I have in the hand for the next turn. So kind of a little bit of a weak effect on their own, but then you play a second Dissonance Node, block 2 cards, and then later on this Harmony Node buffs all your minions. So if you've played like a couple of Dissonance Nodes, you might like buff your minions and prevent the enemy from playing anything, and basically stack up a big melody spell. Never actually tried that archetype. Not sure I want to. I think that the nodes work better with Lustra Starscale, the mercenary that works around groupies and minion spam, mainly because there are a couple of nodes that are basically minion buffs. Like this one gives all your minions +1/+1. I think there's another one that forces all minions to attack, and one that gives all minions +3 power or something. So I don't think that this is really made for res. So I'm kind of thinking either pick up the Hellfire and the Demon Pact. I think that this is the more reliable pick. Hellfire is just always gonna be some nice board clear, and Demon Pact, kind of depends on the enemies you're facing, whether that's good or bad, but with Dungeon Keeper as my mid-boss, that's definitely good. However, I do like Void Ancient and Riot Rocker with that pathing. I think this Chaos Bundle is the more safe pick, but I want to try looking for Dragonbrand again. And I want to get that Riot Rocker with the spell buff. So I'm gonna cross out Malefic Melody. Those 2 minions should be good enough with some buffs to deal enough damage. Right. My Tavern recruit is gonna be Dragonbrand. Very happy about that Void Ancient pickup now. Dragonbrand has a couple of good things going for him when combined with Res. One, he's gonna be able to so he's gonna add some more Void Ancients, and I can buff those Void Ancients with the Concert Craze. If I get the right relic, then the Death Rattle will trigger twice, therefore scaling twice with the Draconic damage scaling as well. And then he can also benefit of the Severed Hand relic from the Torture Room, which is a relic that spawns Skull Recruits whenever the enemy plays a spell. Yeah, and you can buff the Skull Recruits so that the spawned versions of them also get stronger. So yeah, definitely very happy to see Dragonbrand. So now the question is, I'm definitely still going to the Torture Room. I have to go through a relic node. That's always what comes after the Tavern Companion. However, the question is, do I want to pick an Elder Relic here, or do I want the Severed Hand? So I look at the enemies. Severed Hand's gonna be good against the special fight. It might screw it up perhaps, and then kill him too fast, but I don't think that Skull Recruits on their own are strong enough to do that. Dungeon Keeper, so Severed Hand always triggers when the enemy plays spells. Dungeon Keeper has Hellfire, he has the Bloody Scalpel. That's kind of it. The Elite definitely plays a lot of spells, and the final boss plays a good number of spells. Draco Blast, Cursed Home, Metal Horns. And then for the roll after the boss battle, well, none of these are really spell focused, but none of these are that scary except for Brown Tooth, which I'm just gonna avoid. So since I've picked up the second Void Ancient, I think I'd prefer to see the dual Pantaloons. Let's see if I can pick him up without spending a reroll. I do. there are some options here. So Grime Goo, after a friendly death effect is triggered, deal 1 draconic damage to the enemy hero. So Sculpt Recruits would also deal damage. Void Ancient, it's like 1 damage less effective than the Dewy Pantaloons. Do we want to keep the Skull Recruits? I guess is also something I need to think about. So right now the Dewy Pantaloons would be worth 6 damage if I consider the whole deck. And if I focus on re-triggering the Void Ancient after you play a first death minion that costs 3 or less to trigger its death, Grime Goo would be worth 7 damage across, well, I guess 8 with a Haunted Crewmate. So it's just a matter of do I actually want to keep the Skull Recruit. Right now I think it would be my first cut at a campfire. Another advantage of Grime Goo is that it works with the Bloody Scalpel. If I revive death minions, because revive isn't the same as playing, so reviving doesn't trigger the Dewy Pantaloons. I might also pick up some more death minions later down the road, so I think that Grime Goo might actually do more than Dewy Pantaloons. Again, it's just 1 damage less than the Dewy Pantaloons. It triggers a little bit later, but if I give the Void Ancient Hothead, then I can basically instantly trigger the Death Rattle at will. And this can work with some other minions as well, so... Browntooth can be a pretty scary fight, however, he doesn't have his relic yet, so not too worried about it right now. This guy just plays a lot of Browntooths later on, which have a Death Rattle that gives him random pirate minions, and the elite version of him, or the second act version of him, gets the Dewy Pantaloons, which triggers Death Rattles on played. And that can give him some massive card advantage, like just playing a bunch of 2-drops that result in 2 extra cards, often making them cheaper with a Rigbeak as well. It's just gonna spam the board and overwhelm you. But as a second fight, he is should be alright. Not gonna play the Skull Recruit until I know where he's gonna place his stuff. Also, ideally, I kind of wanna scale up my Draconic damage. I guess I can play a Stella. And I'm gonna play another Stella. One of those is gonna get buffed by the Skull Recruit. My concert crazes are nowhere to be seen yet. And I can get the required overkill if I just kill the cannoneer. Right? Actually, no, I should not kill him so that I can... Yeah, because I would only deal 2 overkill damage and I don't have the mana to play anything else. So... just block. So... now this deals 6. Haven't scaled my draconic damage, so I can't get rid of that seafaring ape, can I? Yeah, this only deals 1 damage. Alright, so I'll have to figure out the overkill later. And so now there's a Dust Drake, 2 of them actually, which on death deals draconic damage to all minions. That's very nice as a board clear. There's also a 7 mana Blade Revive, a cheap death minion. That's kinda lame. At 7 mana, I'm usually already thinking about minions that win the game, and this reviving like a Void Ancient. I mean, I guess it can deal the final bit of damage. I might need to kill the enemy, but it's better to just have a power chord or whatever. I don't like heal in general. There are more nodes, so yeah, the chorus nodes, summon groupies. As I mentioned, this is better with the groupie deck and a couple of neutrals on play to deal damage, and a 0/4 blocker that can deal damage to random minions when it gets attacked. I'm not very interested in that, doesn't really fit into what I'm doing. I do really like picking up some extra board clear. 2 Dust Drakes is definitely a nice get, and more Death Rattles also means that my Grime Goo is gonna get triggered more often. So now I get into the torture room. Same thing, same event I went over yesterday. There's a remove, there's a Mana Knight, but what I'm interested in are the bottom 2 options. Either choose 1 of 3 relics for the cost of 5 HP, or win a fight and choose the same set of relics. Dungeon Keeper is a pretty threatening enemy, and like if I draw my cards in the right order, I could win that fight. Like if I get my constant graces first and my power chords later, but I don't really want to rely on that. I don't have any card draw right now, so I'm just gonna pay the 5 HP front, courtesy of the Mischievous trade from Dragonbrand, and I'm gonna pick the Bloody Scalpel. So now I can resummon death minions, and that kind of also means that I don't really want Skull Recruits in my deck, because I'd much rather have the Bloody Scalpel revive more Void Ancients or more Dusk Drakes. So burn. 1 drop I don't want. And now there's Dribble. So this is the first time I'm seeing that fight, so I'm gonna explain the special win condition. So you got this little volume meter, blue one for mine and red one for the enemy side. Hold on, let me just yeah, I think that's fine. And the way this works is every time I'm gonna get a crowd surfer, and whenever I trigger ref effects, which you get the crowd surface, so you have a guaranteed source of ref minions, this volume bar will tick up. And the way it works is that the more crowd surface you have, the more it will tick up. It's the amount of riff effects, aka crowd surface, that are triggered, squared. So if you have 1, then you get 1 bar. If you have 2, you get 4. If you have 3, you get 9. If you have 4, you get 16, and so on and so on. And you reach the special win condition once you get 25 bars. And so the easiest way of doing that, like you can either get 5 riff effects triggered at once, but that's kind of difficult because you need to have 5 riff minions on the board somehow, and you need the hand space to keep them that long. But that would be 25, but you can also do 4 on one turn and 3 on the other. So that's 9 plus 16, and that's also 25. So I'm just gonna wait, build up my crowd surface. I'm gonna play a card to free up hand space and also make sure that the enemy can't trigger too many riffs. I can play 3 crowd surface. I can get down a 4th one next turn and play some 3 drops, some 3 mana spell. So that's 4. Can't wait for 5, unfortunately, because he blocked one of my crowd surface. So just I think I should get the crowd surfer before I draw. Oh, I actually had enough hand space anyway. That's cool. So yeah. I guess I'll just play a power chord. Don't know why I got a funky fragrance. Oh, it had the trinket that gives you, that makes the minion cheaper but gives you 2 funky fragrances when it dies. And I'll only have 9 cards in hand. I have 9 cards in the hand right now, so I can only get 1 more card. This is why I only got 1 funky fragrance instead of 2. So I guess he has one of those so that you can be guaranteed to get a spell as well. Cool. I can play 2 crowd surfers. Next turn I can play the 3rd one to get my spell. Although I do kind of need to kill that torpedo minion. Oh, actually 2 was enough. Maybe they lowered the requirement? Or maybe it was 20 and not 25. But yeah, in any case, I can now get Rift add a power code to your hand. Question is, do I actually want that on the Riot Rocker? I only have 1 copy of the Riot Rocker right now. There are a couple of campfires. Hogwash also means that I can buff the Riot Rocker to give a boost to Draconic and Pyro damage. And that would give me an incentive to clone the Riot Rocker. So I can also put it on one of my death minions. I do wonder how that interacts with Bloody Scalpel. Like, if I put this on a Void Ancient, and I revive a Void Ancient using my Bloody Scalpel, does that trigger the Rift effect? If it does, that would make it an amazing Bloody Scalpel target. Because I could keep generating power chords with my Scalpel. I don't know how that interaction goes, but I'm really interested in finding that out. So I'm actually gonna put Rift Effect on the Void Ancient. And I could also get either some more Himhouse Spirits on Rift Scale Draconic damage and get a 7 song. Would have been cool if I saw them earlier, so I could put Rift Trinket on them. Trigger 2 Rift effects at once. It is more Draconic damage scaling. Right now I only have this Consecrated. I do have a consistent spell generator with a Bloody Scalpel, so I can play these on 2, and if I don't have anything in hand to get a spell, I can just play the Bloody Resurrection on 3. But I could also just get another Stellar and another Power Chord. And I think that's good enough. Stellar is a really good card. And now there's the Hogwash Forge. I can either get a random trinket on something for 25, no thanks. Other options are just get some gold if you have Intelligent, or choose one of his cards. I don't remember exactly what his cards are, but I also remember that they're not particularly strong. I think they could be okay for a cannon deck, but if I come here with a cannon deck, I kind of just prefer getting the trinkets anyway, because there's a very strong trinket for a cannon deck. So this is pretty much always the best option, unless you don't have any money and happen to have Intelligent as a trait in your party, then you get this, I guess. But yeah, I can give something a stationary Pyro and Draconic damage buff. As far as I remember, that does work with the Void Ancient. And that would both buff the Grime Goo and his own effect. So this would effectively make him deal 5 damage to the enemy hero. And then I could also give him Hothead. That would prevent me from putting any more trinkets on him. If I see +2 damage, I like putting that on the Power Chord. Also, since I'm gonna be reviving these with the Bloody Scalpel, this Pyro and Draconic damage buff might also buff some more Power Chords. So yeah, I think I kind of like this. I do have the money to just immediately get Hothead. I do have quite a lot of things that like Hothead. Duskdrake is a good option. Make sure that I can immediately get the Death Rattle to trigger, which as a board clear option, this could be a little slow. Otherwise, like if I place this and the enemy has a bunch of minions on the board, and I have to wait one turn and take damage before this can actually trigger. Otherwise, Hothead is good on Void Ancient as well. Just anything with a Death Rattle likes Hothead, so that it immediately dies. If I see the relic that gives me Hothead on every minion, I would definitely pick that up. Summon cannons on plate. So realizing if you pick the cannon deck and have something like Res in the deck, with Stella you could put like the summon a cannon trinket on Stella and the draconic damage buff on the cannon, because the cannon stays on the board longer. That's something to think about. But yeah, even without any cannon synergies, I mean, I guess I have one pirate in the deck. It's just, do I want to keep him? Maybe, actually. Like, he can summon, he can trigger the cannon a couple of times. I don't think that it'll work with the first play. Like, I imagine the cannon gets summoned, and after I have played the Haunted Crewmate, so the Haunted Crewmate doesn't trigger the cannon it just summoned. But once it dies, it will make something else become a Haunted Crewmate on death. And that resummon of the Haunted Crewmate will trigger the cannon, so... In terms of shop removes, Dragonbrand... I might actually want to keep Dragonbrand around. I think Res is a fine removal target. I don't really need to rely on those Serpent Songs. Yeah. Usually I would just remove the Haunted Crewmate, but I think the cannon could do some work. And yeah, as previously stated, Hothead does break, so he can immediately die and clear the board before the enemy has a turn to attack with that board. Pretty good as well. And yeah, so just a little bit of meta currency. It doesn't really matter what I pick, but I have to choose between what I want to fight. I almost never want to fight Brown Tooth, so. Alright, Dungeon Keeper, the rematch. Actually the third time in between those two episodes, because in the first episode I had to fight for the relic in the torture room. I did win that fight pretty handily. So I guess this is gonna be a best of 3. Early concert craze is definitely what I like to see. And I'm just gonna pass my turn. Don't really care about taking some early chip damage. And he wastes his turn 3, that's good. Right, cool. Oh, not enough mana, of course. Guess I can block. Or not. But yeah, this turn I just play the Dustdrake. And if he kills it, then his board dies. Unfortunately, his Bloody Scalpels are gonna summon that thing now, but I have a little bit of removal. And I also have Bloody Scalpels, so... And he just cleared the board. Including his own minions. I'm just gonna keep resurrecting that guy. And yeah, now he starts summoning the Sea Scutorothrian, which is a bit scary. Thankfully, he doesn't have any other minions that get buffed by that guy, so... oh, and we've reached the point where we get bombs shuffled into our deck. Guess that makes sense. Right now, 2 power chords deal 8 damage. 8 plus this is 12, this is 17. So that's enough to kill. It's 1 short of an overkill, but I don't want to mess around with the Dungeon Keeper. So... Actually, did I miscalculate? No, it is actually 6 overkill. So yeah, but even if it wasn't... if you can get out of the Dungeon Keeper fight, then you should take that deal. Now I get the Bomb Riff, which is a pretty nice removal spell. It has random targeting, but with 3 times 4, if there are a couple of medium-sized minions on the board, it'll usually do the job of clearing the board. Stone Vials give the minion fleeting, so next time it attacks, it dies. Some pretty good and cheap removal, just with the downside that you have to tank 1 attack from whatever you are removing. Can still come and clutch against certain enemies, although I am fighting like a spell discard deck for the boss fight, and a spell deck, spell / minion spam deck for the elite, so this isn't really that good, even though it has a draw trinket attached to it. Pitchosaur, that's Relentless Trample Overgrow. Trample is pretty cool, since if a minion deals damage with Trample without hitting the enemy, it won't actually get silenced by the Silence Mask. However, it would eat up my Hothead trinket if I see one. Like, I still like to get that on Void Ancient or Stellar. And it's also good with double stats, but double stats would also be very good on something like Dusk Drake. Obsidian Phantom can redeem like either a lifesteal guy, which I don't really need, Trample guy, which again not interested because he competes with he competes for trinkets that my other minions want, and Poison guy, which I mean that can be some good removal, but I should already have that. And then there's some more Serpent Stone stuff which I don't care about. So maybe I pick up the Bomb Riff. I would kind of be interested in seeing some more scaling. 1 more Void Ancients, definitely something I like to see. Turn 1 Malefic Melody. Not really interested. I'd really like a Nibble Ribbon of one of my scaling cards, but Drake Altars, next up and Song can target the enemy hero. That's kind of what your ultimate is doing. Don't really like that as a 1-drop. Used to be a starter deck card for us, and it was pretty weak. 1 more power chord is also a thing, but of course I'm getting power chords with Void Ancient. Oh, also I didn't notice that Void Ancient has a +2 damage trinket. Yeah, no, that's definitely gonna be my pickup then. Just wear one Ancient Scholar, Moldskin Ancient. Ancient Scholar discards random cards and draws cards. If I picked up the Dewy Pantaloons, that might have been an interesting option. 2 mana and basically discard a random card to draw 2. But without them, I don't really like discard 1 to draw 1. And Moldskin Ancient summons a bunch of Hot Slimes when he dies, which can deal damage to the face. If I saw him earlier, that would have been a good target for the... Actually, no, it would have been a good target for the pyro damage buff, because he needs to die to get the Hot Slimes on the board. But I guess he might have been good with Hot Hide, but he's kind of expensive. So, Void Ancient it is. Very happy to pick up a free +2 damage trinket. Saves me a bunch of money. Like, since he already has 2 trinkets, and +2 damage is an uncommon trinket, that would have cost me 160 gold. So, definitely like seeing that. Now, in terms of pathing, I do really want to see a trinket shop. I can either see one right now or see one after some relic and some card shops. Not really interested in going through 2 different relic shops or 2 card shops. I think card shops in general are not that important to me. There's nothing I'm desperate to remove. Dragonbrand I usually don't really like, but since I've removed my low value Death Rattle minions and have really powerful Void Agents, so this can actually pop off really hard in the late game. And Res, you can sometimes do something, like I do passively charge my ult, which is when I play enough spells, my Serpent Song can target the enemy hero, and this generates Serpent Songs, so sometimes this can deal the lethal blow. And the Haunted Crewmate has been buffed as well, so just Trinket Shop and Campfires is good, I think. I'll go through 2 Campfires and then I can choose a 3rd one or see a Relic Shop. Don't really care about Relic Shops. This is already a pretty powerful Relic combination. And that isn't much for this death plus spell damage type of synergy that I need. Okay, so there is mana reduction, thorns, and +3/-1. +3/-1 could be very fun on the Dusk Drake. I'll make this just like less health is actually good because it wants to die to clear the board. And if I get Trample on this thing, it's even better. Trample would cost 160. So if I pick this up and reroll for a trinket at this shop, I could not pick up the -1 mana. I do want the -1 mana though. -1 mana on Power Chord is pretty pivotal because it means I can play 3 Power Chords in 1 turn. It's never possible when it costs 4 because you only go up to 10 mana. But it can be possible with 3. Consecrates would also not be a bad pick. Just get that scaling earlier and make sure I can play this before like on the 2nd turn, so I can place buffed still on the 3rd turn. But yeah, I think that buffing the power chord, especially since I'm generating power chords as well, is pretty crucial. And I do like that damage buff. Most of the time the damage buff will kind of get lost before I get trample. But sometimes I can put it down and use like one of my spells to remove whatever is in front of it. And even if I can't make use of the damage buff, I can actually make use of the health nerf. So yeah. Usually, since I still have 2 rerolls left, I'd reroll for better trinkets, but in this case I wanna save the rerolls so I can have a higher chance of seeing trample for Duskdrake. Just a question of, do I want thorns on something? Stellar with thorns is usually pretty good if you don't get like Hothead or Rush on her. Just because then she'll pretty much always only attack on retaliation. However, the remaining hard battles are quite removal heavy, so she's not likely to survive. And retaliate with the thorns. I can put them on Riot Rocker, I guess. Just Thorns +2 on a 1-drop is alright, since like it just means that it can get better trades against 2-drops and 3-drops. And there isn't really much I want to put on him in terms of common trinkets. Like health +1 is not interesting to him. Inanimate isn't interesting to him because he doesn't have like a permanent effect. And +1 power is basically just worse than Thorns +2 because he's most likely not gonna attack the hero. Or if he does, it won't be critical. And I think I'm okay with spending that 40 gold, because my next trinket shop is after the elite battle, which is which does give you extra money. So Campfire could clone or remove. I kind of want to clone Concert Craze. It's really important to get my damage up. Cloning a Duskdrake for more board clear is also pretty good. I don't need to clone Void Ancient. 4 is enough to consistently draw one of them. And then I can just resummon them with the Blood Scalpel. So, one more Duskdrake. And one more Concert Craze. And I can either fight Blast or Junk Gang. Junk Gang's usually not too bad, although if I take too much time, he can get pretty threatening. Tom, oh, I can deal with his groupie. Groupies with my cloned dragon. He doesn't have the big card that repairs all the cannons and has tough. Blast puts bombs in my deck and his own deck. That could lead to some unintentional damage, although it's not actually that many bombs. It's just those 4 bursts and the blade bomb. which usually doesn't do much. It deals damage to all minions and then puts bombs for each one destroyed, but I'm not gonna play that many minions. Main issue is if I lose too much HP, and he dies from his own bombs that he adds with burst, then I won't be able to recover my health with the power cord. So that means I'm going to go and fight the junk gang. Alright, 2 Void Ancients, very cool. With those Void Ancients having the damage buff, it's like not even necessary for them to wait, what? Why do I have guard? Where does guard come from? The heck? Oh. So guard reduces damage taken to the hero. You can get that from a trinket, but I don't have that trinket. And from what I see, the trinkets I added don't have any guard on them. That's weird. So yeah, I wonder where that's coming from. Yeah, having several Void Ancients on the board also means that they buff each other. Now let's see if that Rift effect triggers. So I have 2 power cords in hand. If my and now I have 4. So yes, it does work the way I want it to, which is that whenever I play summon a Void Ancient with the Bloody Scalpel that has a Rift effect on it, the Rift effect will trigger after I have played the Bloody Scalpel. So like, even though it was summoned after I played it, it still recognizes the spell being played. So it immediately gives me the power cord, which is just immensely powerful. Do need to be careful about damage. I'm currently fine. Let's just clean up the board. Kill the enemy. I didn't take 10 HP, so I'm still keeping my S rank. And yeah. The extra damage also helped me kill a big minion, so very happy about that pickup. Now, there is Ancient Lullaby, which has silence and clears the board. And there's also some more Hellfire if I'm concerned about clearing the board. There's also some more draconic damage scaling. I don't think that my fights are going very long, because once I get that Void Ancient ball rolling, that'll kill the enemy real quick, especially with all the power cores I'm generating. And I don't know if I'm particularly worried about board clears either. Silence isn't that important anymore. The enemies I am facing don't have any kind of scaling. If I still had to face the Dungeon Keeper, this would be a must pick, but otherwise. And yeah, Hellfire is just kind of with the dust drakes, not very important. So usually this would be a very good pack, but I think I'm okay with picking up one Wham Bam Jam. Just as insurance if a fight does go late. Because once I reach turn 8 and those bombs keep coming, I want to end the fight pretty quickly. And either 2 campfires or campfire and relic. In terms of campfires, I think I'll actually go one more Dusk Drake and one more Concert Craze. Keep the money for the trinket shop. And I'll still be able to fill all my relic slots at the final relic shop. So now I have 4 copies of all the important cards. I could actually consider removing Stella. That's like, she doesn't have any good buffs, or like any buffs at all. And now I'm really getting enough lifesteal of those Void Ancients generating power chords. And that would have been 4 removals at one. So yeah, I guess that was worth a consideration. It's kind of unusual to remove Stella, but in this deck it's definitely fine. Yeah, that's a good hand. Got my scaling, got my Void Ancient to get the ball rolling on the Bloody Scalpel, and got my Dust Drake as insurance. And I guess I'm gonna block that. No reason to keep this in hand. Then I'm gonna summon my first Void Ancient, which has guard for some reason. I'm not sure where that guard is coming from, really. I'm gonna scale my damage a bit. I'm gonna take a hit from a bunch of buffed up groupies. But thankfully I can just clear the board. And then I can actually... Oh, this can only target... Wait. This cannot target my own minions? It doesn't specify that it can only target enemy minions, so that's not what I expected. But I guess I still have that Riot Rocker effect active, so... Can get a power chord to I'll actually play Bloody Scalpel to get the power chord buffed. Potentially it summoned a Dust Drake, not a Void Ancient, but that's also fine. Summon and get some more damage in. And that was a pretty easy fight. So yeah. And for the last pick, so there are some neutral cards I really don't care about. There's some self-damage stuff. There's some interesting things you can do if you pick up the Mopor Bell. But I'm only getting one more relic node, so at most, so don't do that. Modus Mallet, however, choose a minion, create a copy of it that costs less, is just a very, very solid card. I can copy a Void Ancient and also immediately trigger its Riff effect. Play 2 Void Ancients very quickly that buff each other, so definitely like that. So now the question is, do I want a Relic Node or do I want Stellar removed from the deck? Either way, I can get a Trinket Shop. I mean, yes, there are a couple of things where having a Stellar wouldn't be too bad. Like Stellar could, with one buff, Stellar could take care of a Soulskin Ancient. And if I want to keep my dragons in hand, that's pretty good. I don't have much single target removal otherwise. Only the Serpent Song generated from the concept price. Although on the other hand, it's very possible that I'm gonna spend all of my money at the trinket shop and can't buy any more relics. Like, especially if I get that trample, that's gonna be 160. So I'd be left with 190 effectively, because the 8 gold doesn't matter. $190 is like two uncommons and a common, or a rare and uncommon. Not enough for rare, uncommon, and common. What is there beside trample on this that I would really want? And I guess I could get some kind of stellar buff. Plus 3 damage would be really good on her. -1 mana on the concept race would be really good. Can I get... I spent 110 for a second power core trinket. Probably don't want draw on power core. That will mill my deck real fast with all the power chords I'm generating from the Void Ancient. But like +2 damage is very solid. So then I'd be spending I'd have 80, so that's enough for a rare. Rest could be good on Stellar. I guess I'll do Trinket and Relic. Just feels weird removing those Stellars. Also kind of screws with my mana curve. I mean, most of the time I'm passing my first few turns anyway, but having some cheap minions to play later on in the fight might also be useful. Start of game, draw this. This definitely goes on the concept craze, I'd say. Just immediately get that scaling going. When cast Joy Guard. So I said before that I could do 2 uncommons and a common, right? Yeah. So I guess I could put that on the Molds Valet. Don't feel comfortable on putting it on the power chord. Again, that'll very quickly overdraw my hand, but ooh, interesting. So double stats. Probably not worth it on Stella. Could put this on the Grass or Dragonbrand, or could put this on the Dust Drake. Double stats on Dust Drake does mean that it doesn't die as fast as I want it to. But it also means that I put him down as 16-4 on the board. And since I'm keeping Stellas, that is quite threatening. It is only on plate, so if I have summoned them with a scalpel, I don't get it. Inanimate, do I care about that? Not really. Not enough to spend 40 bucks on it. Guard could be okay on something like Stella. I don't think I'm taking the double stats. I am really re-rolling for one more chance at trample though, and even though I didn't get it, I'm very happy to get minus cost. I don't have enough to buff Stella. Any other damage card? Nothing that doesn't already have a trinket on it. So I can give draw to something. Only random jam. I guess make this a draw 4. Don't expect the fight to go that long, but yeah. Just in case. Might as well, since I didn't have the money for a relic anyway. Supply sack would have been cool, I guess. Cindercid Grog would have been okay. Hard Potion would have been okay. Yeah. I guess maybe a supply sack is preferable over guard. Especially since I have that mystery guard. Wait, what? Oh. This says that it has 4 trinkets. That's... Huh. Secret. I guess it got the guard buff from the boss somehow? And the boss ignored the trinket cap? I must imagine that this is unintentional. But yeah, this little green triangle with the number in it indicates how many trinkets something has. Like, you can see this has 2 trinkets, this has 2 trinkets, like whenever a card has more than 1 trinket. And this says it has 4. So... yeah, I guess I'll... Probably gonna have to make a bug report later on. So yeah, guard wasn't really necessary on Stella, since Void Ancient has Mystery Guard. And supply sick would have been alright, but it shouldn't matter all that much. I have enough copies of the cards I want to see. I'm also guaranteed to draw my iconic damage scaling. And yeah, I'm very happy to see those three. Get a Void Ancient immediately right off the bat. And I get 2 Concert Crazes right off the bat. Agony Altar gives some extra duo, but I'll just start scaling my damage. And if I play this, I'll have 8 cards in hand still, so I can't do that. And I can hope that I kill the Soulskin Ancient before he buffs up too much. I'll generate 2 cards by playing the smallest mallet, and then I will overdraw by 1. That won't do. So I'm just clearing the board instead. Also a good play. So the Moldus Mallet would have triggered a rift, which generates a power chord, and then it would have generated another Void Ancient, because that's its effect, and then it would have drawn a card, because it has a draw trinket attached. I'm gonna just spend both my Serpent Songs, clear up my hand. So yeah, this deals damage when he discards cards. Which I'm not particularly worried about. Can though get some more Void Ancients on the board. And I do kind of want them to die this turn, otherwise they will get silenced, or one of them at least will get silenced. This is at 7 damage, so yeah, I attack the Greta. This dies, and then it clears the board, even the 5 damage minion with Lifesteal. I triggered 3 death effects. And that'll already kill the enemy, because I've scaled my draconic damage by a lot. So yeah, very smooth win. Doesn't keep the fight, got a little scary towards the end, but I did have lethal just in time. And yeah, short of the power of res, I think that the purple factions in general work very well together. I showed off the spell plus discard combination yesterday. Today I showed off the spell plus death rattle combination. I think that's the most powerful one. I did get lucky on the Void Agents, like the Rift Trinket and the Draconic and Pyro damage buff. I was guaranteed with my pathing, but the +2 damage was also very strong. But even without it, just the synergy between the Void Ancient and the Bloody Scalpel, yeah, definitely worth picking up that Bloody Scalpel if you have a good Death Rattle minion on this map in particular. You can attach the Rift Trinket as well, get your power chords, dish out some massive burn damage very quickly. And yeah. But the Crime Goo, I think Dui Pantalones would have been just as fine. With the +2 damage trinkets, they actually would have probably equated to the same damage. Again, the advantage of the Grime Goo over the Dui Pantaloons is that my Bloody Scalpel works with the Grime Goo, whereas the Dui Pantaloons don't. They only trigger when I play minions, but this Grime Goo triggers when minions die, including once I revive. Desk Drake, Dui Pantaloons either turns it into a board clear spell if you reduce its mana cost, or doesn't do anything. Can be kind of funny, especially if you get barrier. But yeah, very, very solid run. Showing off the strengths of Res on this map in particular. Like, I basically got everything you could wish for when you play with Res. Early Rift Trinket, Dragonbrand as your secondary companion, damage buff on the Void Ancient, apparently Guard as well. Guard didn't do much in this run because I had lifesteal and I was killing the enemy pretty quick, but it can be helpful, especially against the other enemies, which can put down some bigger minions. Alright, so next time I'm gonna do Mini Mogul. I'm gonna get into definitely what I consider the harder bosses. Like, Volt is a bit of a joke, to be honest. The map modifiers are still pretty annoying, but the boss himself, often your least concern. There's probably a mid-phase boss battle or an elite that's more worrisome. But Mini Mogul is a tough one, and so is Sorella, and so is Kazoo, so yeah. I think for the next ones, I definitely intend to pick Nomi for one of the maps, and I also wanna try out Bang for another one. Maybe I'll do some evolve stuff as well. So, see you next episode.